Alright, we are back for another video. So, as you guys can tell, I am in the practice range. So what does that mean usually? Usually means that I'm about to drop some words of wisdom on you, or I'm about to tell a nasty ass story. So which one is it gonna be for today? I am gonna tell a story. Yeah, I know I've been telling a lot of stories recently on the channel, but this one is about my love life, and I know people are interested in other people's love lives, okay? I know I am. So again, let's start off by setting up the time and space and universe of the story. So this story took place around the 3rd grade. And you know, you're in the 3rd grade, you're sitting in class, and you usually just spot the baddies, okay? As a 3rd grader, I know you guys have done it. Everyone's done it. Every time you get to class, you get to a new classroom, new people around you, you just gotta do a little bit of a scan, right? Look to your left, to your right, whatever it may be, and you wanna spot the baddies. I remember it was like the first day of school. I walk into the classroom and I do my usual 360 scan, and I spot one girl. Her name, I will not say it out loud, but her name was Rawan. So I spot this baddie named Rawan, bro, and I was just immediately enthralled by this girl. I took one look at her and I was like, yup. Little 3rd grader me was like, yup, that's the one right there. Immediately had a massive crush on her. And you know, you walk into the classroom, it's your first day of school, your first couple weeks, they have to assign you a seat. And it doesn't really work the same way as it does in America. So usually in Jordan, what happens is you have the same group of classmates for the whole year. It's not like in America where you have math class, you go to room 261, you got science class, you go to room 265. In Jordan, you have the same classroom all throughout the year, and teachers just rotate in depending on whichever class you have. So let's say for 3rd period you got math, the 3rd period teacher comes into your classroom and starts teaching math. That's it. So you're locked inside of this room with the same group of people the whole entire year. And usually at the start of the year, you get a seating assignment. And now the way that school desks work in Jordan is that it's one desk, but it has 2 seats on it. So it's like a very wide desk with 2 seats, and it has 2 students sitting on the same desk. And you're right next to each other, right? Throughout the whole year, right next to each other, you gotta deal with each other's bullshit. You're sharing a desk. And that does lead to a lot of problems, right? A lot of fights happen. You're with the same person a very long time. You get annoyed with them. They breathe loud. They eat loud. You just gotta deal with it or fight them to the death, okay? You gotta cause an issue. You gotta cause problems, right? So the time came for me to get assigned a seat, and there were only a couple of spots available. It was either I'm gonna be seated next to Rawan, my crush, or this little fucker. Let's name him Timmy, okay? I'm not even gonna use his real name because it's too complicated. This little fucker, everyone hates him. He's annoying as fuck. Okay, let's just call him Pencil, actually. Let's call him Pencil, not Timmy. I'm gonna call him Pencil because he was a little dickhead, bro. So those were the 2 seats that were available to me, and by some miracle, I get assigned to sit next to Rawan for the whole entire semester, and I was the happiest little 3rd grader on the planet, bro. I wish I could go back to that level of happiness, bro. Oh my god, I would have no issues in life if I was as happy as I was in that exact moment where it got announced that I would be sitting next to Rawan, bro. Oh my days. So I get sat next to Rawan, and you know, I start spitting my game. You know how it do be when I'm in 3rd grade. You know, I always got game, you know what I'm saying? I'll do little things like draw little doodles on her little notebook. You know what I'm saying? Do a little flirtation. You know how it do be, you know, setting up my game. You know how it be, baby. So some time goes by, we're building up this chemistry. I start even making a couple of friends. And, you know, I start telling them shit, right? Because, you know, you made friends during your life as a 3rd grader. You start telling them stuff like, hey, man, who do you like in class? And they start telling you who they like in class. So I had a group of 2 friends. We were very close, okay? And these 2 friends, I was a 3rd grader, and I was like, you know what, bro? Today's the day I am going to tell them who I have a crush on. I don't know why I did it. I just had to tell them. So I started off that conversation by going, hey, man, do you guys have any any crushes in class. And of course, they're third graders, they're shy, they don't want to tell you. They're like, no, we don't. But if you tell us, we'll tell you who we have a crush on. And you know me, I was like, oh shit, they're gonna tell me who they have a crush on. If I tell them first, well, fuck it, let me do it, dude. I can trust these guys. I met them like last week in recess, okay? They told me about their favorite video games and shit, bro. These guys are my best friends ever. I can tell them anything. So I tell them that I have a crush on Rawan, and I was like, promise not to tell anyone. They're like, okay, we promise. We promise we'll never gonna tell anyone. And I trusted them. So I go back home, everything's fine, right? I am proud of myself for telling them that I have a crush on Rawan. It's like a weight that has been lifted off of my shoulders. I've been holding it very close and dear to my heart for so long. It's just been weighing on me. I had to let it out. So I told them. I go back home, everything's fine. Come back the next day at school, everything is still fine. But I did start to notice a little bit of weird activities going on in class. People were just looking at me weird. And I noticed Rawan was treating me differently. You know, we've spent so long building up this chemistry. We were basically close friends. But when I came back to class, it didn't feel the same. She was avoiding me. We didn't really have that connection anymore. And I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, maybe she's just having a bad day. You know how third graders are, right? You can't really tell, can't really sense people's emotions, right? And then recess came by, and recess today was held within our classroom because it was raining outside and we couldn't go outside. So we had to have recess in our classroom. So, you know, I pull out my tuna Nutella sandwiches as usual. I sit down and I just hang out by myself eating my sandwiches. But then all the kids start grouping up around me. Like a bunch of kids, dude. And I mean a bunch, like half the class starts grouping up around my desk. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. What's happening? They were laughing. They were just looking at me and they were laughing. And I was like, okay, that's weird. Am I wearing something different today? Like, start smelling myself. Do I smell bad? Right? Did I not wear the correct uniform for school today? Did I come in my pajamas? Because I used to do that a lot, by the way. Little side note here. I used to forget to put on my school uniform and just go in with my pajamas. So I was like, maybe they're laughing at that. I check down. Nope, I have my school uniform on, so something weird's happening. I look in the background. I look like really far in the background on the other side of class, and I see my two homies who I told the secret to having a conversation with the other half of the class, and they are laughing. They're looking at me like and they are laughing. And at that moment it struck. They told everyone in class that I had a crush on Rawan. Hell, they told them I loved her. That's what they said. They told everyone I loved Rawan. Trying to put into words the emotion that overcame me at that moment. And I want you guys to just understand that you're in third grade at this point. So being under so much social attention when you are just struggling from social anxiety all your life because you're a nerd, and then having the whole class just look at you, point at you, and laugh at you, and exposing your secret out loud. These people were grouped up around my desk. I will never forget this until the day I die. And I attribute a lot of my mental issues to some of these moments, which is kind of sad when you think about it. But anyways, they're sat all the way across my desk, and they're just laughing at me, pointing at me like, ah ha 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 ha, he loves Rawan, he loves Rawan. And I just look at Rawan on the other side of class, and she just had this look on her face. I can't really describe it. It was this side-eye kind of look. Like she was just looking at me from very far away. Like, she didn't laugh at me. She didn't make fun of me. All the other kids were making fun of me, but she never said anything about it. She just had a side eye. She just like was staring at me all the way across that classroom. And at that moment, dude, when I saw them laughing, when I saw my two homies across the room telling everyone about it, laughing, I just started bawling my eyes out, bro. I started crying. I put my head on the desk and I just started crying and crying and crying. And no one really cared I don't know if it's a thing with all third graders where they just don't care. No one tried to console me. No one even changed up like, oh shit, he's crying, maybe we should stop. They just kept on laughing. They just kept on laughing, bro, and laughing and laughing, and I'm over there crying, my head on the desk like this, and I'm just crying, and no one cared. Not even the teachers cared. They thought we were messing around or something. The teachers were assholes, by the way. Like, I've told these stories many times on my channel. Like, these teachers would beat us up on the daily. They didn't really care. And I remember multiple times where I would like be getting hit or punched or bullied, and I would cry, and the teachers just wouldn't care. So it's not surprising that this time they didn't care. They didn't think anything of it, probably. They didn't think it was something worthy of intervention. You know, just a group of third graders laughing at one kid who's crying on his desk. They didn't think to intervene maybe or say something. They just left it. The only thing that really stands out to me was that after I finished crying, I left the classroom. I was like, Miss, can I please go to the bathroom? And I go to the restroom, and one kid, one third grader, I still remember him to this day, and he's very close and dear to my heart, even though he doesn't know I exist, probably. I mean, that's probably the last time we ever talked. But he followed me to the bathroom, and he was just like, don't really pay attention to what they're saying, right? He's like, don't care, it's fine, they're gonna forget about it. As a third grader, he said that to me. He consoled me as a third grader. Dude, these are kids. I still can't believe it to this day that this third grader really followed me to the bathroom, and he was just consoling me. He was like, everything's gonna be okay, bro, don't worry about it. It's kind of crazy to think about a third grader has that much emotional maturity at that age. But yeah, I'll always be grateful to that guy. If I could ever contact him one day, I would just say thank you, right? Because it really helps, you know, because no one cared. No one cared. It felt, at that moment, it felt like the whole world was falling down around me, and everyone was just looking at me. So the aftermath of the story, nothing really changed. I was still getting laughed at every single day at school, until another kid had his secret revealed that he loved another girl. And that is when a lot of the pressure, a lot of the making fun of me stopped and was directed at this guy instead, which, I mean, kind of sucks. I never really made fun of him for it, of course, because we went through the same thing, but I'm kind of glad that a lot of the attention was swapped over to this guy. That's about it, I guess. I mean, yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that happened to me when I was in third grade. So yeah, I mean, that's about it, I guess. The story kind of sucks to tell. I just realized it's very sad. It's not funny at all. To me, at least, it's not. Maybe it's funny to you guys. I hope you guys chuckled a little bit, maybe, at this story. Anyways, with that being said, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a sub if you guys really want to. And I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.